right, good morning, all. We all survived the hurricane and the floods and all of that. Yeah, we're all here. Good. All right, so I want to ask you a series of quick questions, and just go ahead and shout out your answers. All right, what do you prefer, cats or dogs? Dogs. Okay, what about winter or summer, your favorite season? Okay, what about the aisle seat or the window seat? Okay, what about vanilla or chocolate? Yeah, I like that. What about roller coasters? Gay fun or no thank you? Yeah, right? That's good. All right, so there is some nuance here, but you notice how we can respond, automatically with an answer, almost like automatically, without giving it a whole lot of thought, without considering, without, thinking about it much. I was like, when I was thinking about this, I thought, well, yeah, chocolate is definitely my favorite. But, maybe at this point in my life, I should try vanilla again. Maybe I'll like it a little better. And I always ask for the aisle seat because it's just easier to get up and down. But, the window seat, I'm always craning my neck to see if I can see out the window. And it makes me so mad when that person shuts the... I'm like, no. So maybe I should just get the window seat next time. And roller coasters? Okay, maybe it's time for me to get over my fear of roller coasters and actually see if I can have fun. I'm going to have to talk to you. And you know what? The other political party actually might have a better idea about this one thing than the one I belong to. I don't know. Maybe. But we don't do that much, right? We just decide, we just sort of move along with what we've always done, what we've always thought, without giving it much consideration, because it's what we've always done. Let me ask you another question. How many times have you driven home, and you arrive home, and then you look back and go, I don't even remember driving. How did I even get here? Or you had lunch with a friend and you get into an intense conversation and then it's like later you don't even remember what you ate or if you enjoyed it or not. Yeah, we are on autopilot for a great amount of our lives. And it's necessary. Right, Chris, you're bringing it up in the meditation, the automatic processes that happen in our body. Thank God we don't have to think about it all. Thank God we don't have to be conscious about every single thing we do all day long. I mean, can you imagine driving? And you're, okay, I've got my hand here, I'm in drive, I'm looking out my side windows, I'm looking at the rear view window, I got this much pressure on the gas, I'm coming up to a stop sign, I'm gonna have to, leave off and then move my foot over to the brake, and oh my God, by the time you got to your destination, you would be exhausted, right? Also, it doesn't leave much room for higher thinking, for creativity. So, we're going to be talking about this today. And, for a lot of this, it's a survival thing. The automatic responses are our survival thing. The problem is we do it way too much. It seeps into other areas of our life. Another way to say this is that we're unconscious or we're sleepwalking through life, right? And we all do it to one degree or another. And our automatic responses to life, our automatic responses to situations, and our preconceived notions, and our habitual ways of doing things, and our unquestioned beliefs and opinions keep us trapped. Because we're no longer in the driver's seat. The autopilot is, right? In the meantime, we're filtering out important bits of information that, we just don't register. And this is demonstrated by the fact that two people can experience an event and walk away from it and have two completely different ideas about what just happened, right? It happens all the time. That's how strong our filters are. And more importantly than that, we filter out a lot of life. You know, we're not living fully. We're not, you know, we're not in that growth process, the transformation. We're stuck. So, the first thing we want to do is become aware, to become aware of this tendency. Eckhart Tolle says that awareness is the greatest agent for change. Awareness is the greatest agent for change. And so we can help ourselves in this, set our intention to, wake up periodically throughout the day. You can set an alarm on your watch or on your phone, and when it goes off, take a deep breath, conscious breath. Let's just do that together. And feel the air filling your lungs, right? And then bring your awareness to your body and check out, where you are in your body. And then check out maybe where you are emotionally in this moment, right? And this, you want to do this, just observe. Be, non-judgmental about it. Just observe. And then you may want to ask yourself, what am I doing? What am I doing? How am I perceiving this? How am I perceiving? And then, maybe, what else is possible here? Is there another way I can experience this? In fact, let's say that together just to get it familiar in our mouths, so hopefully we can get it familiar in our heads. Say with me, what else is possible here? What else is possible here? Is there another way I can experience this? I can experience this, yeah. So let that idea grow in your consciousness, and as you're facing something, a situation or whatever in your life, how am I perceiving this? Is there a different way to do this? This is, it's a mindfulness practice, right? This is a practice of mindfulness, and that's a practice. A practice that pays huge rewards, because now you're in the driver's seat. The autopilot isn't. You're a choice now, right? So this is what we want to practice. So as I mentioned, I was at the fall conference, the Unity Ministers, the Mid-Atlantic States, the fall conference, and our keynote speaker, his name is D.E. Polk, the initials D.E., I think it's P-A-U-L-K. And wow, he's got an interesting story. So he comes from this tradition, from this long history, his family history of Pentecostalism. And his family started and grew one of the biggest Pentecostalist churches in the South. I think at one time it was the largest mega church. Huge. And it was his uncle that was the head of this. He was the bishop. And then his father was also in it. His mother was also the choir director. And at the age of 9, he was like tapped by the Holy Spirit. Was anointed. It's like, you're going into ministry. And so he followed in his family's footsteps and did all of those things and grew up in that. Well, after a time, mega churches, mega egos. There was scandal after scandal, sex scandals, financial scandals, manipulation scandals. One of the biggest ones that came to light involved him. It was a secret that they were keeping from him all of his life. He didn't know, but it came to light. And the secret was that his uncle, who was the head of this, was actually his biological father. He actually slept with his brother's wife. And when that came to light, oh, hell broke loose. And people were leaving, and then there was financial stuff, private jets and all that stuff. And so it began to fall apart. It began to unravel. And D.E. survived this by, extricating himself from this and reinventing himself, really recreating himself. He went and studied world religions. He's a very smart guy. I think he's got a doctorate in world religions. And he started his own community eventually. And as he studied world religions, his consciousness began to evolve, and eventually it's ended up in this place of new thought. He is this very progressive new thought leader now. So he's talking, and it's like the same thing we're saying here. And it's so interesting, but it's got that Pentecostalist fire to it, It's really an interesting combination. And so he starts his community, and the first thing, he's progressive. So the first thing he does, he wants to welcome in LGBTQ folk. I mean, really, really actively welcome them in. Well, when he did that, a lot of parishioners left. And then he said more parishioners left when he started preaching the fallacy of hell. That hell is not real. It's like, oh, no, you're not going to take hell away from me, are you? I want to make sure that person burns for eternity in damnation. Don't take that from me. Wow. And then more people left after he started saying things like the Bible is not really the word of God. It's for man, it's man's story about God. More people left. And then he's got, because he's interfaith and he weaves in all of these traditions. And he does the Gayatri mantra in his services, and it's all woven in different traditions and wisdom things, and he wanted representation of these different wisdoms, so he put up symbols of those things everywhere in his church, including the stained glass window. So in the stained glass window, there's a Star of David, there's a yin-yang, Zen-yin-yang sign, there is an Om sign, there's the Buddhist wheel, and I'm thinking, that's interesting. We weave in different ideas from different traditions and faith things, right? I'm wondering if there's maybe a way we can add to this wonderful, symbol of Christianity. And you all know that I have, reinterpreted. Gaines and I were talking about this the other day, and you probably all heard this. But if you haven't, so it's just real briefly, the way I look at it is that the vertical line is that highest spiritual divine presence within us, and the horizontal line is the human experience, and our goal is to live at the center, at the intersection of the two. So that's how I see it. But it might be interesting. So if you have any ideas about how we could do that, come talk to me, because I'm kind of thinking about it. So anyway, he says that people were leaving, so it's no longer a mega church, it's just, a medium-sized church, and he's struggling just like the rest of us New Thought folks, because not everybody's there in consciousness, right? They're not at that level of consciousness yet. And so he shared with us these 4 levels of thought progression that I thought was really interesting. I'd like to share it with you. So our first level, this is what he's the realization he's come to, is the level of absolute. Now, this is a different way of understanding absolute than we talk about here, right? We talk about absolute as far as the infinite, universal, divine, that highest divine realm. Well, he talks about absolute in terms of concrete thinking, of black and white. There's no gray. This is where you think you got it all figured out, right? You're right, everybody else is wrong. That's that level. And then the next level up is the level of abstract. This is where you can hold the tension between the polarities. So rather than seeing either or, you're seeing both and. And this is where you become aware of the lens through which you are looking at life. So now you're growing out of the autopilot. You're now back in the driver's seat, and you're more at choice. The next level up is mystic receptivity. I love that term, right? Mystic receptivity. So this is rather than seeing things as right and wrong, this is where you come to the choice about the perspective that you want to choose. Is this perspective working for me? Is it giving me peace? Is it giving me a sense of expansion of my life? Or is it a contraction of life experience? Is it giving me pain? So this is where you live in the mystery. You're willing to be in the mystery of it. Now the last, the fourth level of thought progression is spiritual oneness. And this is where we are living from the awareness of wholeness, where the divine is now alive in me. Let's say that together. The divine is now alive in me. That feel good? We become aware of who we truly are. We become aware of how powerful we are as co-creators in our life. So this is, how the idea of transformation, again, it's a gradual process, right? It's not, we talked about this last week, it's not sudden and automatic. If it is suddenly you woke up and you were your infinite self in the middle of your life, it'd be a little disorienting. So it's a gradual process, and this is the progression of thought. And this is how we evolve, hopefully. Of course, we know a lot of people, maybe some, that are stuck in that absolute thinking, right? We know some of that. And actually, as I was thinking about this, I feel like with certain things in my life, I am at different levels. How I think about different things. I can go through all these levels all in one day, right? Depending upon whatever it is, honestly. So like with some things I am at the level of the absolute. With women's rights, human rights. I am at, no, this is a given. We all women and humanity have rights. And nobody's going to tell us what to do, and I feel like I'm right and everybody else is wrong. And I know there's another opinion. And somebody on the other side is going to say, oh, no, what? No, you are wrong, I am right. And this is where it happens. This is where when people come together at the level of the absolute, where there's no gray area, this is how division is created and how it maintains and how we kind of get stuck here, right? So we want to bring awareness to it. So I know that I am at the abstract level when I'm thinking about unity, because unity is my spiritual path. It's probably for a lot of you too, but I realize that there are other paths to the same end. There are other ways of experiencing spirit that are just as valid as this one, right? I'm at the mystic receptivity level about certain things that's going on in the world today. I'm attempting to get there, and when I'm conscious, I'm thinking about, what is this what perception am I choosing? What am I choosing to have this effect on me? I want to choose something that gives me peace, that makes me feel alive and hopeful, rather than choosing the perspective of fear and that I feel like there is no hope. I'm going to choose the one that makes me feel at peace. And I know there's a mystery. There's a lot going on that I don't know, and I'm willing to live in that mystery, willing to live in the unanswered question for the moment, right? And then I'm at that higher level of divine oneness when I am here with you, with all of you. And I feel that energy of spirit right here. I feel the divine is alive in me. Let's say that together again. The divine is now alive in me. Yeah. So when we pay attention, when we bring our awareness to what level we might be thinking from, resonating with about certain things in our life, again, that brings the awareness. We're no longer sleepwalking through life. We're no longer unconscious. We're back in the driver's seat. And so as I was thinking about this, I was thinking, well, okay, this is a really empowering way of thinking about it. And also, we know that the mind we're not just mind. As we've been talking about the last 3 months, we are body, mind, and spirit. We're all of it. So I was thinking, well, what could be the levels of our heart growth, of our ability to love, of our spiritual heart-centered progression? And here's what I came up with. So I got my own levels. You're free to agree with them or not, or come up with other ones, or, we can build upon this. This is just sort of a brief summary. So the first level is friendship love. This is the easiest level, right? We love people who love us, who are good to us. That's easy. I can love people who love me and are good to me. The second level up is loving differences, learning to love people who are different from us, who have different ideas. That takes a little bit more consciousness to be at that place. People who have even been hurtful to us, being able to love that. And I know a lot of you're looking at your the handout. There is a handout in the program that you can take home with you and work with. The next level up is really a quantum leap, and that's self-love. That's loving and accepting ourselves exactly as we are completely. In all this time that I've been in spiritual coaching and ministry, that is what I find the most difficult thing, is for people to love and accept themselves completely. So that's that level that we really want to grow into and work on and practice, right? And the final level is omnipresent love. This is where we are love. We are love expressing, and we can love everyone, everywhere, regardless. I don't know too many people who are here, but maybe we all have moments of that, right? We all have moments of that. And so that's our goal, to live from that place. All right, so take these with you this week and work on them and begin to, and set your intention to wake up at certain points during the day. Where am I at this moment? Is there more here? Is there another perspective I can have here? Is there another way that I can open my heart and be more loving in this moment? All right? Okay, namaste.